Welcome back to day 2, part 2 of the Crowley family homicide case. Or as you guys can see on Twitch, it's a Murder of the Gray State, part 2. Tonight we're going to basically just focus primarily on suspects, evidence, basically key players, things like this. We're not going to focus on a lot of the details. We basically covered majority of it last night. We were just basically going over the police reports and all this, if you guys weren't following from last night. But we are going to be looking at this same case, and yes, it is going to definitely be carrying over to next Saturday. Most likely going to be a full day. I did not get a ton of time to really look at this today. A lot of it came down to basically just bad time management on my part, so do apologize for that. But we are going to, I can almost assume we are going to basically find some things on this one. Not necessarily tonight. I feel like the crime scene is basically where we need to be focusing to find all the details here that are going to be damning for whoever's involved. And the suspects, we're going to be basically seeing who really is most likely to have benefit from this, have reasoning for it, things like this. We're going to be looking at everybody that's been basically labeled as a suspect. I know the police reports are trying to really, really force it down everybody's throat that, oh, it was definitely David Crowley. He did this. Oh, no. I'm not convinced, And after looking at more details today about PTSD and things like this, yes, I mean, some of the details they do describe, yes, it once again does reinforce PTSD. So I do want to make that very clear, but I feel like it's just really it's being pushed too hard. If it truly was PTSD, there would be a lot more like, okay, it was PTSD very clearly. This is what happened. They wouldn't need to really, I don't feel like they'd have to follow up as much and really push this. It's PTSD. I don't know if he had PTSD, but, this happened, which is a basically definition of PTSD here. There's something going on with that, I would say. So, but we are going to be looking into that. I also want to make that announcement. So I did post the video this morning for the COVID-19 video, which was labeled or titled "The False Crown of Pestilence." Once again, falling after one of the horsemen of the apocalypse. Of pestilence, the one that basically brings disease and all this. False crown obviously kind of alludes to my feelings towards it and all this. I don't want to say it directly on air, but you can kind of get what I'm saying here. False crown, yeah. But there were some issues I didn't see actually going through on production. I knew that After Effects had some issues going through, every time I worked with it, where the audio would basically get cut, things like this on there, go to Premiere Pro, it's all fine. Everything was fine on Premiere Pro. The graphics went back to normal. I don't know what the deal is. So I'm looking into it right now and actually seeing what I can do to fix this, essentially. But as of right now, the audio does not work in Premiere Pro. It does not work in After Effects. So any of you guys out there that know more about that as to why this is happening, yeah, please reach out. Let me know. If you guys want to reach out on here, even let me know. It's cool too. But yeah, it is working in Audition, so I'm not really sure what's going on with that. But I'm gonna basically try a different route and kind of get all the sound on Audition, get it on there, and then push through on Premiere Pro. Hopefully it works. I did try a few experiments, newer audio, like when I would mix things up a little bit. No problem working on Premiere Pro after this. So I'm really thinking it actually came down to I put everything up on the Google Drive when I got the new computer, and then basically when I got the new computer set up, this happened. So that's what I think happened. But I don't want to get too much caught up on that, since that's a big mess that I'm trying to fix. But I did want to apologize for that for those that tried to watch it today and seeing that there was some issues in audio areas completely getting cut out. Very, very important areas getting cut out, to be very, very, very blunt. So he guys wouldn't have got the full information and all this. And it was literally throughout the whole video. Songs, sound effects, all fine. It was just my narration. So Really strange. All right, well, let's get right into it. So I know I said I was going to have all the notes done, picked up after I, unfortunately, like I said, really bad time management. So just expect by Saturday, anything we can get today, I'll jot down. By Saturday, you guys will see a whole huge thing of notes. Not to mention, you guys will see for sure, without a doubt, no ifs, ands, or buts. There will be the layout, measurements between each of the houses as best I can get. And we're going to try and get everything labeled by measurements. Because once again, numbers don't lie, unless somebody is literally forcing them in the wrong area. Now, that's what we also have pictures for. And we can also use that as like cross-referencing and things like this. On the YouTube video version of this, I will post that. It'll be up on YouTube, BitChute, and all this. They're going to be an 18 and older only. So just throwing this out there. They most likely will not be monetized at all, but I do want the information out there. So it's once again, it's kind of me throwing a little bit of a freebie there to everybody. Making money on this would be great, but let's be honest, it's not why I'm doing this. Pokemon Go is a different story, but but with this stuff, no, it's just getting the information out, trying to get people woke up to see what's going on. And this case is definitely included in that. All right. So I want to go back over this first page here. So let me get you guys the link. So in case any of you guys want to follow along, read ahead, things like that, feel free. And this has the list of suspects on here. You can kind of see a few of them. So, all right, let me get right into it. So we're looking the first one here. So we're going to go, let me see if I can find where it starts. Okay, so we're going to start here just to be on the safe side. All right, we're going to start. Yeah, we'll start with this one. So they start off and they say, there have been only 3 media releases by the Apple Valley Police Department regarding this case. First was a short release announcing that 3 bodies were found in a home on Ramsdale Drive, then the identification of 3 bodies, and finally an announcement that there was, quote unquote, no signs of struggle in the home. Once again, if you guys haven't looked, please do. If not, you guys will see it on the YouTube video. I will be releasing that. It'll have additional coverage, specifically going over the home. I'm planning on basically cutting out what we do, like what we look at, and it's going to be something entirely else. Or I might just, just to be on the safe side, I might just release that and then just do the walkthrough, essentially, just kind of regarding that. So it should only be a couple minutes long, something like this. I might just do that. That might be a lot easier. So we'll see. Okay. No signs of struggle in the home. We know that's a BS. We have little to go on from there. The elephant in the room that hasn't been addressed yet relates to the comment by a first responder on the scene, as heard on the police audio, as saying, quote, rear slider unlocked and slightly ajar, end quote. That right there, that's something's off. Why would that be open? Doesn't make any sense. All right, so Apple Valley Police Department Captain John Bermel and lead investigator James Gummert have never brought this up publicly, and to some, it leads to speculation that it could be intentional and hopes the question goes away, if you will. This reason alone, one could argue, is the reason this case should not have been ruled murder-suicide. I agree, but it's not the only reason, so we'll get into it. But with this one, yes, I agree that yes, with this reason just by itself, you could basically argue that pretty easily. The police department quickly ruled this a murder-suicide, also perhaps to reduce the public's fear of having a murderer on the loose in their neighborhood. I don't think it was somebody from their neighborhood, personally. City of Apple Valley has roughly 50,000 residents, and the public fear subsided when the police quickly concluded this was indeed a murder-suicide. But the question remains, was it? All right, parents of David, Dan Crowley Sr. and Kate Crowley of Owatonna, Minnesota, didn't do a public interview or release a statement. The parents of Connell haven't done a public interview or released a statement either. And they were in Hewitt, Texas. So in the report, they don't give you the day or the area, but they're in Hewitt, Texas, which Hewitt, Texas, wasn't they? Could have sworn that's where Texas Chainsaw Massacre was filmed. I don't want to get into that, though. That's just mere coincidence, I guess. Kamal's mother, Naila Alam, is allegedly receiving treatment for an advanced form of cancer with slim hopes of surviving. This was discovered in July 2014, and at the time, she had no medical insurance. Kamal's younger sister, Sidra Alam, has communicated that her mother has ovarian cancer, and due to her stress, she has not been informed of the murder of her daughter, Kamal, and granddaughter, Ronnie. With mounting medical bills, Dan Crowley, David's older brother, set up a GoFundMe campaign called the Crowley Alam Medical Fund, with a stated goal of $6 million. Yes, that is right, $6 million, people. Why do we need $6 million? So, this is supposed to be for the medical fund, okay? So we're going to look at this in just a second. This guy is clearly, there's something off about this guy. You watch the documentary, something's off. He does not look at his brother in the greatest light. I can tell you this that much. Real easy. Let's look that up. Ovarian cancer treatment cost. In USA. Average cost of care for women with ovarian cancer in the first year after surgery is approximately $100,000. Patients bear approximately 3% of these costs in the form of out-of-pocket expenses. Okay, let's keep going. So you already see this is off. This is just why $6 million. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be about $100,000 just straight up. So why $6 million? Right? Good question, right? In fact, let me get that back for you guys. Ovarian cancer cost USA. Get that for you guys. In case you guys want to read further, copy link. I would highly suggest it. I mean, just to go and see. So you guys are going to see more than I just showed off, and that's fine. That's fine. And that's not something that's going to be like playing a huge key thing here, other than this guy's obviously up to something really crooked. There is no mention in local papers or on social media of anyone named Naila Alam suffering from an advanced form of cancer, and no CaringBridge website in existence for periodic updates. What is CaringBridge? Well, let's look it up on Wikipedia. We'll do this real quick. Charitable nonprofit organization established in 1997, which allows people facing various medical conditions and their family and friends to communicate. CaringBridge is the first nonprofit social network. Okay, so it's a social media website with global reach, whose mission is to connect loved ones during a health journey through personal, private websites. Prioritizes privacy with no advertisements or selling of user data. People who are provided with an individual's personal website address and password can read updates on the individual's condition or post messages to the family as needed. It's headquartered in Eagan, Minnesota. Interesting. That's in Minnesota, too. All CaringBridge sites are free, and CaringBridge is funded by donor support. So, weird, right? That's incredibly weird. Why are they mentioning CaringBridge, right? Okay. No CaringBridge. No CaringBridge website in existence for periodic updates. And well wishes from family from July 2014 through January 2015. There is no evidence to support a local benefit for the family or any type of fundraising efforts for this woman. Dan Crowley, who was close to his late brother David, but only an acquaintance of the Alam family, stepped up, to create the fundraiser, but the funds donated went directly to him under the auspices. He will forward the funds onto the Alam family. The fund raised $8,000 when Naila allegedly began receiving medical insurance coverage. Sidra Alam notified Dan Crowley to shut down the campaign page, and a week later the fundraiser was closed. So you got $8,000 off this. In repeated attempts by myself, so this is, what's this guy's name? The guy who runs this website is Dan Hassan, I believe. He's a quote unquote citizen investigator. So guys like, person like me, basically. Repeated attempts to get confirmation that the $8,000 was in fact forwarded to the Alam family. Neither said the family could do so. The following week, Dan Crowley posted a picture of himself in front of a Las Vegas hotel on his personal Facebook page, only adding fuel to what happened to the money. Well, this is pretty clear. It's pretty damning. Does Nyla Alam have ovarian cancer? Why didn't she have medical insurance? Why would she need $6 million? Did the $8,000 raised by Dan ever make it to the hands of the Alam family? Doubtful. Didn't need $6 million. We've already proved that. These are some of the questions. Currently, there is no evidence to support any of this. Okay, 2 weeks following the death of his brother's family and closing down the fundraising campaign, of course, he took a trip to Las Vegas. So we'll take a look at this picture here. What do we got here? February 9th. Got 83 people that liked it. Mason Norse Test. We're going to be taking a look at this. So we're going to go and we're going to start writing down some names real quick. For suspects, we have Dan Crowley. We have Danny Mason. We have who else? And we saw that Danny Mason was kind of a thing, and we had Peck. I'm just gonna put him down for Mr. Peck because I don't remember his first name. What was his other friend's name? I don't remember. But we had his other friend too. So and we're gonna put this down. Put this up here, and we'll say Dan Crowley created a fundraiser for the Alam, or for Nyla Alam and her family. For costs of her, we don't know if this is true, so ovarian cancer. And there we go. Close the account, the fundraiser, upon request by I don't remember her name, but the sister. Upon the request of, I think it was Sita. And there was no confirmation that Dan forwarded the money to the Alam family. Okay, so this already, like I said, this is pretty damning. Whoops, forgot to, there we go. Let's look this up real quick. So we got people here, Mason Norse Test. We're gonna go and write this down here. Let me go and get another piece of paper so we can begin. And this is just for information purposes. We're just gonna write this down just to be on the safe side because these are gonna be playing a key thing here. Facebook was huge with people. So we got Dan Crowley, Mason Norse Hest. We don't know who Matt Jewison is, but we'll write him down anyways. We don't know who any of these people are, but this could be something. We know there's at least upon this, there would be a total of 10 comments. So we're going to go Matt Jewison. James, I can't pronounce his name, so I'm not even going to try. It says Shoal Jiggards. Yeah, okay, Shoal Jiggards. I followed Dimitrov. We got Amy Rapp. Got Laura Meyer Hawkinson. Okay. Alrighty. In fact, actually, let's go back into that real quick. Okay, so probably not this one. I'm going to just go ahead. I'm going to cross her off. Laura's crossed off. Amy can't. Ivalo, maybe. James, I don't think so. Just based on their comments. Now, I can't fully rule this out. But Mason Norsk Hest, that's kind of weird. Get your butt back home. Okay. Why is he trying to get him to go back home? Not to mention, you look where he's at too. He's also in front of Mandalay Bay. Just throwing that out there, just for future reference here potentially. So why Mandalay Bay? Why is he taking a picture like this right in front of Mandalay Bay? Interesting. So the shooting happened in after that, so like 2017, I think it was 2018. So this guy was also former military as well. Let's see. Screenshot of comments made on the Facebook group Justice for David Crowley in Gray State. Okay. Email confirmation from the Alam Crowley Family Medical Fund fundraising site. Why would the funds be received by Dan Crowley? That doesn't make any sense. It's very true. See, and so he put in $15 for it. Okay. In the home, when the bodies were found, an agitated, angry dog was found inside of the home. This is Paleo, the family dog. Paleo was taken to a shelter for a time, and Dan Crowley stepped up to take the dog in. The dog had eaten on parts of the bodies and tore up a sofa cushion in the home, but lived for 3 weeks with no food. That part makes sense and could very well be true, but here's the catch. The water. That's true. The dog could not survive 3 weeks without water. In the bathroom, in this 2-bathroom home, there's a chance that one or both the toilet lids were open, allowing the dog to drink the toilet water. This water could have lasted several days or even a week, depending on how many lids remained open. The fact that the bodies were lying there for 3 weeks or more makes it very likely that Paleo didn't have any water during the 7 to 10 days. There was more than that. Okay, we know that for a fact. There was more than 7 to 10 days. So it was close to about 4 weeks. Most likely what ended up happening here. This point needed to be addressed, and law enforcement could have made a statement alluding to how many toilet lids were open in the condition of the dog when it was found, as Paleo would have been very weak physically by that time. Police had to wait for a dog pool to arrive before gaining access to the home on January 17, 2015. The picture of Paleo at the shelter that Dan posed on his Facebook wall showed a thin but healthy dog. Okay, so this is him visiting him. Dan Crowley doesn't help his cause this interesting post to his personal Facebook wall. How has it become customary and so easy to watch human beings, myself being the guilty one here, gruesomely murder each other on TV and film? I wouldn't say it's really damning or anything, but it is a little bizarre, and that was also in October 26th. But why would he post this? This is also weird. Screenshot taken from Dan Crowley's Facebook page. This post has since been deleted or hidden from his page. Another odd photo posted on Dan Crowley's personal Facebook page. This, too, has been deleted or hidden from his page. This right here. Kind of an odd thing to take. But then again, once again, his brother also did take some really strange footage of himself as well. Him having kind of like these little where you could almost argue that there's something going on with him. But once again, is he doing this for actor training, training himself to really get into the position for this type of act? Are they these acting roles he was doing in his own movie? We don't know. We have no idea. Maybe it was for that business he was running. We don't know. But he was acting very odd and peculiar in the documentary. So I will give that. Acted very odd. However, this is to a different degree. This is straight up going, and I know jokingly I'm saying this, of course, but full-on stealth ninja mode. No, I don't know what the hell is going on here, but this does not seem normal. Okay. So just to kind of throw this out there, yes, there are people that do dress up like this. Yes. You don't have to look any farther than the, what do they call the RLSH community, the real life superhero community. Guys like Phoenix Jones from up in Seattle, no longer is he, from what I've seen, is not really doing anything like that anymore, but there are still people like him doing this. There's other people. It's all over the world too, mostly the United States, of course, but but this, I don't think he's a part of that. Could he be? Maybe, but I doubt it. I doubt it. I mean, some of them look a little deranged themselves, but let's see. All right. All right. There's only one known obituary posted relating to the family's deaths. Nothing found in Hewitt, Texas, and nothing in the Minneapolis or St. Paul local papers. For a public figure like David Crowley, it seemed out of place to find an online obituary posted on the Owatonna newspaper with a short, hastily written obituary, which we can see here. Let's take a look. Ooh. It's not there anymore. Interesting. Lumping together all three deaths by using a personal obituary form from their site. Keeping in mind that David was a public figure with followers and fans from across the globe, Cole had her own successful business with many clients and lots of friends. So, yeah, that makes sense. There would have been an obituary most likely for them, at least done by one of the fans, somebody close to them. Once again, the family didn't do, let's put it bluntly, they didn't do crap at all for this. They should have. Perhaps a quicker, inexpensive obituary to save money. Perhaps. But the Alam family and the Crowley family were both families with resources and were financially stable. Interesting, right? Why do they need the crowdfunding for it? Why was there no medical insurance? What is going on here? Okay. Which raises the question above regarding Nyla not having medical insurance. See, boom. Keep in mind that Kamal received her degree from Baylor University and her master's degree from the University of Minnesota, and her father bought a new Acura for her. Those are expensive to drive while she grew her business. The medical examiner's report. The deaths of Kamal and Ronnie were ruled a homicide, and David's death was ruled a suicide. The official date of the deaths are January 17, 2015. Typically, in cases like this, when bodies are found after several weeks, the medical examiner will narrow down the most likely date of death after examining the state of decay of the bodies. True. Never done, though. This would help investigators lock into a date to use for investigative purposes. For example, medical examiner in this case could have stated the killings appear to have taken place between December 24th and 26th. From our lab's analysis, the official date of death will remain the date the bodies were found. That is standard procedure. So that's interesting. Yeah. Okay. So Dan Crowley stated he stopped by the home on December 26th or December 27th to drop off some packages, but didn't ring the doorbell as he didn't want to bother the family. He would know the date and didn't need to guess. It's funny, right? Dan Crowley certainly would have been brought in for some initial questioning as he is close to David and was at the property after the crime. We do not know if he was ever questioned. From the standpoint of a potential suspect in this case, Crowley certainly has some explaining to do regarding his behavior. I agree. He's very, very suspect in this case. Even when you watch the documentary, he comes off very, very suspicious. Like I said, he does not praise his brother, his younger brother. He would not praise him. Not one time, really. What he would do, this is his personality. He was a controlling guy. They had issues. Boom. Okay. Well, she was independent, but he was controlling, and that does make sense. I don't know what's going on here. Not to mention, family usually has, especially if they're close, especially with let's say they're close with a family member. Generally, they're going to be close to that family member's kids as well, just in kind of just like connection. Essentially, it's weird for that not to happen. It's not normal. It's completely abnormal. That's fine. Anybody can fact check me on that. That's fine. I would argue that. Even my own family, I'll put it this way, my brother is not extra close with me. I mean, he's close, but he doesn't, he won't call my daughter, or my son. He doesn't generally call them by their full name. Usually it's like the little nicknames we have for him. It's usually what he'll refer to him as, but not always. That's the thing. Not always. Sometimes, like, when asking about him, he won't refer to their, in like their full name, or he won't refer to them in their nicknames. He'll just refer to them by their full name. And when I say full name, I mean like their full first name, not like, blah, 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 blah. No, not first, second or even surname. No. It's just, he would, just by first name. So it's in, love my brother, but he's a bit of an odd duck sometimes. So when it comes down to it, he's kind of like the hermit in the family, if you will. But, that's fine. That's fine. I love him to death. But my point here is that connection there. Now, if this guy was really that close, even on the gifts, he probably wouldn't say full name, Rania, and then Uncle Danny. Probably not. Not to mention, why did he not see the bodies? Windows open. Why didn't he see it? Why didn't he hear the dog? Didn't need to ring the doorbell for the dog to even be barking. So weird things. Not to mention the water, also very, very good point. Okay. It was on December 26th or 27th. Why would he just drop him off? That's weird anyways. It was clearly snowing out, so why would he just drop the gifts out there? They're going to get like soggy and stuff, and no, that makes no sense. Okay. Many criminals enjoy, quote unquote, returning to the scene to review their handiwork, whether in arson, vandalism, or murder. It's true. That happens often. Was Dan truly dropping off the gifts at the front stoop, or simply stopping over to get a glimpse into the front window that had the curtains conveniently left open? And even then, once again, we have witness testimony from the neighbors that he often left them closed. Interesting, right? Okay. Dan has certainly gone out of his way to appear as a good guy in this case, visiting the family dog Paleo at the shelter, then taking him in, then starting up a fundraising campaign for his brother's mother-in-law that he hardly knew. Very, very peculiar. He was stated as calling David and sending texts to David after not hearing from him during the holidays. Was this an earnest attempt to reach his brother, an alibi to check out, as Dan being concerned about the welfare of his brother? Yeah, he wasn't, let's be honest. He was certainly close enough in proximity to make stops at the home if he was indeed concerned. Once again, family does this, my family included. The day of the interview with the press, Dan Crowley, along with his friends, Danny, August Mason, Mason Hendricks. There it is, Mason Hendricks. Where is it? And Sean Wright. And this is an Instagram photo on January 21st, 2015. That's shortly after his death. These are not men that appear to be grieving the loss of a close friend and brother. No, it's not. How was this guy involved in Gray's state? He wasn't at all. So why were these guys, all three, really close? There was no connection at all. Okay, but we'll keep going. The media in this case presents another issue. This story took off initially on the world stage with coverage in Europe and Australia, then several small stories here in the US, then all fell silent. Interesting, including the alternative media, who would have eaten up a story like this with all of the anomalies. Very true. Alternative media, though, if we're looking at it, if you were to look at, let's say, alternative media here, you go off of, like, let's say, for instance, Lisa Haven, Mark Dice, the Next News Network, they're going off of mainstream media. They're still using it. As much as they want to try and say they're not, they do. They'll find articles by mainstream media. They'll talk about it. They find a story by them. They'll talk about it. They'll look into it a little further from there. I will argue that they often do. However, they don't generally not use the mainstream. Okay? And that's fine. That's fine. They have their own ways of doing it. But this is also strange. Why was anybody looking at this? And if we're going to look at this, we're going to go look at this in a second. You guys will start seeing. Story was brushed under the rug in conspiracy circles, and many publicly stated they agreed with the official narrative. Weird. Images of 12 individuals connected to the Gray State Project with alternative media connections. Okay, we're going to get into this. Many thanks to 3 groups that have taken this case under their wing: 21st Century Wire, Disaster Survival Magazine, Wake Up to the Truth internet radio show that is not connected to my Discord server by any means at all. As well known as David Corelli was, it seemed to go down memory hole in sites such as Godlike Productions, Lunatic Outpost, and Above Top Secret. So, let's take a look. We looked at this last night. So, Infowars.com, boom, boom. You get 2 connections to Infowars. Now, we'll go look here in a second and see what they've got on it. You get a U.S. Senate candidate. We have the Next News Network. Gary Franchi. He didn't look into it a whole lot, apparently. RT, well, it's mainstream. Adam versus the Man. I've never heard of this guy. Sorry about that, Adam Kokish. Mark Dice, okay. He's also a YouTuber, okay. So, and all this. He's considered alternative media as well. Alternative news to some, okay. There was nothing there. This guy here, Jason Burmis, he did Loose Change, which is mostly 9/11 truther stuff. Luke Rudkowski, I believe he's the same way, did more like 9/11 truther type of stuff. UK Guardian, that's I believe it's mainstream. Oathkeepers.org, interesting, as Oathkeepers they're militia. Press for Truth, there's alternative media. So Senator didn't say crap. That's not, that doesn't surprise me. But you got alternative news media. No, they didn't say anything. So let's take a look. Let's go look at Infowars.com. And we'll look it up on their website. What do they have for it? I'm not looking to buy anything from you, Alex. Where is it? No. Here it is. And we are looking for David Crowley. Let's see how much he covered on this. Nothing. Okay. Take a look again. Let's get Gray State. Nothing. Oh. Interesting. See what I'm saying about this? This is didn't say anything about it. Okay. Let's look at Next News Network. No. Did they have anything on this? And we're just going to go and quickly look at his website or his YouTube channel. And we're going to go look at not seeing it. There we go. He did 5 years ago. Another one. Another one. So you got 3 videos he put up for it. Okay. Let's look up Mark Dice. Get into his, and we'll take a look. Okay. Okay. Notice not seeing it. Why are we not seeing anything from him either? Let's take a look at Lisa Heaven. Whoops. Whoopsies. Nothing there. Let's take a look at Gray State. Interesting. 5 years ago. Saying there's nothing there either. This is just, like I said, this is damning for the most part for them. Why weren't they covering this? We had Gary Franchi covered 3 videos for it. I'm not going to look at everybody else, but like I said, we didn't see anything here, didn't see anything here, didn't see anything, or we saw a little bit here and saw nothing here. To me, that says that literally that's a big picture, and it says a million different things there. But the big thing we're seeing is that it doesn't show they were even really caring, or they weren't really looking into it. I'd argue that. So, and like I said, I just started looking at this. I just decided to start doing videos on this type of stuff recently. So, and when I say recently, it was like August, when things were really starting to kind of go down that direction. That's kind of, I really feel like I need to be waking people up to this. It's unacceptable. Okay. So we're going to get back in. All right. So advocacy groups also got involved, as this was also purported to be a case of domestic violence, showing pictures of Kamel and Ronnie being victims of domestic abuse at the hands of a deranged man. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, got 3 mentions. See? But where are the pictures? I'm not seeing a single picture. That's my point. They tried to paint the picture that way. Why? Easy to go and cover it up that way. He was PTSD, domestic violence. He was crazy. Oh, we have to go and, no, that's not what was going on. I can guarantee it that way. They did that once again. I get it to some degree. If that's what the police did it for, no, I believe they did it for that exact reason. No, I don't. I think there was more involved. I really do. Small town police don't generally do this. Generally, they'll look into it a little bit more. Now, if it's connected to things like cartels and things like this, that's when they call the FBI. They saw what happened here. They just swept it under the rug. It's most likely what just happened. They just didn't want to handle it. They saw this guy. Oh, he's, he's anti-government and all this. Oh, he's crazy. Whatever. That's basically what they saw. He was probably very, very well known, by the police there, I would assume. There's been no evidence to support the fact that David Crowley killed Como and Ronnie, and in fact, the case is still open and ongoing, as per investigator James Gummert. Good. Keep looking at it, Gummert, except you're kind of proving that you're not being very capable. I'm sorry, but it's true. Hopefully, I'll get to talk to you soon about this. Many have accused David Crowley of suffering from PTSD after serving in Iraq and Afghanistan in the Army. While this angle certainly would make sense, there is no evidence to support that David suffered from PTSD and snapped and flew off the handle killing his family. Instead, the murders appear to be a very calculated, planned event. Yes, well, the thing is, can't really argue in that direction. Okay? The thing is with this argument here it actually doesn't prove anything against PTSD. It not being it. Thing is, the guy he's a smart man. If you've watched the documentary, once again, highly suggest people go watch it. Very, very controlling. Okay. So a very calculated and planned event, that's in his nature. That would have been. Now, I'm not saying this homicide was. No. But this right here would have been in his nature right there. Very calculated and planned event. However, he loved his wife and his daughter like you wouldn't believe. It was, their family life was a little odd to some degree, I will argue. But for the most part, very, very loving family. Okay. So, and that's just like I said, watch the documentary. You'll see what I'm talking about. I can't show it, so we're just going to leave it at that. David commented often on social media, such as Twitter and Facebook, and his comments lead the reader to believe he was rational, excited about the future. He was looking forward to 2015, releasing his documentary in the next few weeks. Now get this. Can you believe it? The rise is almost done. I'm serious. She's coming out to be quite the looker. Can't wait to show you all, but I have to comb her hair for a few more weeks. Anyway, I'm quite serious about giving this film away. I have come to abhor the AJ model of peddling DVDs, the AJ model of peddling DVDs as truth and cashing in on suckers. I have given this film years of my time, and I'm delighted for the opportunity to burn it down by giving it away. And I hope you all share the feeling. You've all given this project a lot of attention, and I thank you. Soon it will be time to go live, and we'll get to watch it all unfold. Okay. December 9th. Why would he, 10 days later, okay, December 19th is when we can also assume that potentially it happened, because according to his the house behind him, those neighbors said that, yeah, the light back there would wake him up and all this, and that was kind of a more or less a freaking kind of thing. So, you kind of went right into her room. So, does this honestly sound like somebody who was just getting ready to go and commit suicide and kill his wife and kid? Absolutely not. Thing is, he wanted to watch everything unfold. He wanted to go and watch the NWO and all these other asshats basically kind of scream in fear. Oh God, we got all this information out. People are really looking forward to seeing it. Crap. Oh no, what are we going to do? Kind of mentality. Scurrying around like little rats. That's what he was trying to do. And they would have. Except that's not really how they want to play. Okay? They kept a close eye on this guy. This guy obviously was basically showing off what was going to be going on. As we can see, a lot of it's kind of already starting to unfold now. Okay? So watch the trailer. If you haven't yet, that is different than what The Rise is supposed to be. I have not read the script yet. I do plan on doing that throughout this week. As once again, I've got a lot of the things I got to handle, but based on what everybody said, it's different. Well, we'll see. We'll see, because I paid very close attention to the trailer. If it's really that different from lately, I want to pay attention to those events from the trailer and see if they actually happen in his script. So, and obviously they finished shooting it. Okay. Now, The Rise is also more of kind of like a documentary and all this, but it did go over it. It was all about getting the truth out there. Okay. So he turned it more of a kind of a follow me, kind of thing. I'm going to go and guide you through this mess. It's basically from what all of his former business partner and Mason, all them basically alluded to. It was more like that. It's basically what it kind of felt like the way he was talking about it. So, all right. Speaking of social media, the next series of anomalies center on the censoring of certain posts. David's personal Facebook page had a post deleted or hidden. On December 9th, 2014, David made a post about having big plans for 2015 that had been recently deleted or hidden from his timeline. On the Gray State The Rise Facebook page, a post from September 9th, 2014 was recently deleted or hidden, which stated David was in the process of putting together a, quote, a new trustworthy team to work with. Now, why would he post a new trustworthy team to work with? That right there, that also screams something's afoot. Who in his team wasn't trustworthy? Well, we'll see. And this, once again, September 9th. Okay, he was trying to go and take that likeness from Danny Mason so that way he could be used. So his character is probably going to get killed off. So I'm assuming. Or they already filmed the basically event where he's triumphant or whatever. Once again, hero's journey. So why would these posts be deleted or hidden, and who is doing this? Well, screenshot of a recently deleted post on David Crowley's personal Facebook page. The news of the deaths arrived on January 18th, 2015, and circled on the internet when the Rundown Live was being aired with Mike Peck. Okay, I can't say it. Just aired with Mike P. The news appeared right as their online show was beginning and took over much of the airtime. This certainly was strange, but could have been coincidental also. 2 days later, on January 20th, it was the same Mike P. who apparently went rogue and leaked the Gray State unfinished documentary on YouTube. Once again, another anomaly that can't be easily explained away as coincidence. Mr. P would be another person to get a statement from on his knowledge of this case. So let's write him down as well. So we're looking up Michael Peczesny. Okay. All right, now we're going to be looking at Sean Wright. Did we already write him down? Yes, we did. Okay, so here's our next one. Now, see, this all connects. It really feels like it does connect to this fool here, Mr. Dan. Okay? And I think a lot of people are already thinking he's a part of it. Could this have been done by multiple people? Multiple people? Absolutely. This could have been orchestrated very, very easily. Sean Wright is a close friend. Let's be honest, was a close friend. David Crowley and member of the Gray State team. Calls himself the personal Rolodex for David Crowley. A loving father and proud dad, and a man who recently, quote, turned his life around, unquote, appears to be the good guy in this case, including working with investigators, police, and closely with the Crowley family. He made the statement, David was like a brother to me, Como was like a sister to me, and Ronnie was like a daughter to me. I consider them family. That's weird. Why is Ronnie like a daughter to you? That's weird. Weird. You're not the dad. Sorry, bro. Yeah, just weird. Sean's odd behavior in the aftermath of the deaths and how he inserted himself into the outside investigation of this case has made many people believing he should be considered a suspect. Absolutely. Public records show a total of $38,000 in state of Minnesota judgments against him, and additional tax-related problems shows this is a man who needs money. Okay, so is somebody paying him off? Sean took the lead in asking for and then demanding administrative privileges on the Facebook group called Justice for David Crowley and Gray State, ran by Thomas Lapp. Who's Thomas Lapp? We're going to look him up too. Okay. Once granted, a series of posts were deleted that questioned the official narrative of this case. That right there, that's enough to go and raise suspicion. He then asked for and requested administrative rights to the Facebook page called Justice for David Crowley and Family that Dan Husson started. He wanted to make sure the correct version of the story came out and to ban certain members of that page who were making outrageous claims. He didn't want any citizen investigators, anybody looking into it. He really didn't want them to. You'll see why. When turned down, he became irate and made veiled threats and told Dan, quote, you'll get yours, and I feel sorry for the backlash that will come your way. Well, Dan's still alive and well. I can actually prove that. Oops. That's not him, so. Okay, we'll just go like this. Okay, fine. I'm going to find him now. It's Mason Hendricks. I think it was that one. See, you can already see, these are photos from the family. There's the brother too, by the way. That's also weird. Was it this one then? It's got to be this one then, I think. Nope. I don't know where it's started either. Yeah, I mean he does have a YouTube channel, I'll just put it that way. He does. Really wish I knew what this is. I wish I could find it real quick. All right. So, okay, regardless. Once granted a series of posters, okay, if we already got that, I recommend that he create his own Facebook page, which is free and easy to do, and push whichever narrative he chooses. To my knowledge, he hasn't as of yet. During a phone call that he had with Sean, which was Sean Wright, most likely, he stated he could be sent to prison for up to 70 years if some of this tax stuff gets out there. And I'm still confused about why a person would make this statement. Very good question. So we have a connection now. Sean Wright and Mason Hendrick. We also have connection between, where is he? Oh yeah, Danny Mason, that's right. We have a connection between these guys and Dan Crowley. Okay. So we have that too. So it's kind of weird. All right, and where are we at? Okay, anyone who has doubted the official story has received backlash from Sean, either in the form of a text, a private message on Facebook, or otherwise. Sean has become the leading force in the case to brush aside and eliminate any questions surrounding the case. In a personal phone call to Greg Fernandez Jr., who is active on the Justice for David Crowley and family page, following quotes are made to Greg. There is no conspiracy. We've seen the medical examiner's reports. All the tests have been done. There's nothing out there. I can't tell you. I was probably one of the last people to see them alive. If you can, free yourself from the situation. The DHS and FBI will put you under a microscope if you keep asking questions. Why would that? That already is alarming. You're swimming up a river that doesn't go anywhere. Don't beat a dead horse. You gotta learn to let things go. There's nothing to pursue. I hope that you can respect my words. Just stop it, dude, for your own sanity. And finally, the truth is already understood, and it is up to the family to decide what to disclose. Interesting right there. Up to the family to decide what to disclose. What is there? What are we not being disclosed? All right. Here's a man actively pushing that there is no foul play, but here comes the good part. Sean has actively pushed the following angle. David and Como jointly agreed to do this, and it was planned this way. What? 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 All right, let's go and start reading another Facebook post here. You guys are friggin' sweet, and this is from David Crowley. I hope the film makes you all proud. I would try to do a private screening or something exclusive, but hearing the news every day, I don't think we have the time. See, right there, knows something's coming, December 9th. Don't know who this is here. It looks like it's Sean, though. Or I don't know who this is, actually. I can't really tell, but it has taken a lot out of you, I'm sure. The iron is hot, waiting for you to strike. And then we got Sean right here, it looks like. You need to call me. I'm all good with getting out free, intact. I think it's supposed to be in fact, or give it out free. In fact, I brought that up initially, but if it's released before my court, You may send me to prison instead of beating my case. For real, though, David, call me. David says, I don't have any of your tax talk in there, Sean. My man, don't sweat it. This movie is meant to send other people to prison. See, this is the conversation of somebody who is sane. Okay? PTSD, you could snap. Yeah, sure, I get it. Things could just snap and boom, he does it. However, this guy had great control on a lot of things he was doing. He's a control freak. PTSD, let's be honest, I don't know many military folks that have PTSD, but that being said, let's look it up. Let's just break it down. All right. All right. Actually, let's go like this. PTSD. Put those in parentheses. And we're going to go and put control freak. Okay. Let's look at the Wikipedia. Complex PTSD. Psychological disorder that can develop in response to prolonged, repeated experience of interpersonal trauma in a context in which the individual has little or no chance of escape. Okay? Chronic sexual, or is associated with chronic sexual, psychological, and physical abuse or neglect, chronic intimate partner violence, prolonged workplace or school bullying, kidnapping, hostage situations, indentured servants. Okay, blah, blah. Here's all this cause it. Let's see. It was often directed at children and emotionally vulnerable adults, and whilst motivations behind such abuse vary and it's predominantly malicious, it's been shown it can be well-intentioned. What? Situations involving captivity, entrapment, a situation lacking a viable escape route for the victim or a perception of such can lead to complex post-traumatic stress disorder, like symptoms, which can include prolonged feelings of terror, worthlessness, helplessness, and deformation of one's identity and sense of self. Once again, none of that did he even show at all. This guy is confident. Come on. No, he wasn't helpless. No, he was confident. He was going to be exposing these jerks. He was doing all these things. He does not have this. Okay? Just showing you right off that one Facebook post is enough to really show you that, okay, if he really had that, would he be having would he be having this confidence? No, I don't think so. And granted, he can act. Yeah, he definitely could act. He knew how to act. However, you can look at all these other posts. You can look at him in the movie. You can look at it. Once again, he's not going to be able to go and cover this 100% of the time. Nobody would be able to. Not a single damn person. Let's be honest. Okay? All right. Let's get right back in. Oopsies. Let's see. We're going to look for control. All right. So we got 7 different hits. There's 2 here. No. Okay, he did have this technically, a loss of control and disempowerment. Once again, when they basically pushed, he needed to go to, he didn't have a choice. He couldn't get out of the military. So this could potentially have caused something like that. Once again, there's triggers though. Okay. And the rest is just no. So could a control freak? Let's take a look. This is out of looks like a blog, I think. Let's look at control. Okay. Characteristics: rage turned outward, theft, destruction of property, violence, becoming a control freak. Okay, now this is where you can get this here. This is how it over time. Rage turned inward, eating depression, substance abuse, alcoholism, didn't have any of that. Truancy, I don't know what that exactly means, but whatever. Dropping out, promiscuity, didn't have that. Codependence, doormat syndrome, choosing poor partners, trying to please someone who can never be pleased, trying to resolve the primal relationship. Didn't really have any that didn't look like. Okay. Depression, he probably did a little bit. Okay. So we'll go with it. Rage turned outward. Theft, destruction of property, violence, becoming a control freak. Well, he had that. Other, learned hypervigilance, clouded perception of blinders about others, especially romantic partners. I don't think so. Seeks possessions of power and or control. Okay. He had that. Choosing occupations or recreational outlets, which may put oneself in physical danger, becoming a fixer, therapist, whatever like this. Withdrawing from relationships with other people as a defensive measure to reduce the risk of rejection, accountability, criticism, or exposure. I don't think that's what was going on there. Him and his wife did withdraw from the families because they were apparently having issues. According to the documentary, once again, practice of identifying a person or responsible for creating a problem rather than identifying ways to deal with the problem. Didn't do that. Automatically assuming the worst case scenario and inappropriately characterizing minor or moderate problems or issues as catastrophic events. No. Control me syndrome. Tendency with some people, which some people have, to foster relationships with people who have a controlling, narcissistic, antisocial, or acting on nature. No. Yeah, I don't see it. I mean, he has some of the things, but once again, you could argue anybody in that position. Okay. So I'm just going on them. I don't think he did. Once again, that's what they're trying to really push. Okay, they jointly agreed to do this and planned this way. That's bizarre. So we're going to write that down in the notes. Copy. Paste. Was it Sean Wright? There we go. I think that sums it up pretty well. Okay. We're going to go and put down and then who else we got? We got Danny Mason. We already got him down. We got Sean Wright, Mason Hendricks. What else we got here? So we got those ones. We'll just throw them down for right now. Okay. Oh, yes. I forgot to write that down. It's directly what they said, right? Agreed to do this. Jointly agreed. And it was planned this way. Okay. Okay, so we have a little information here right now. So screen capture shows Sean left his personal cell phone number, requesting David to call him. He also mentions the importance of his tax talk in the film. Is this something a close friend would leave in the comment section of a post? No, this is somebody that would most likely be on drugs, I would argue, or just they're stupid. Something's up there. I don't think that's something somebody normal would do. unless it was something absolutely private, right? Like a Facebook Messenger, something like this. Yeah, maybe fine. But once again, what they were already disclosing, this is a point where Edward Snowden already released information about this stuff. These guys would have known about that. They would have known that's stupid to go and post anything like this. Once again, government can track it, right? Okay. It would seem more appropriate to send a private message. This post was later deleted from the Facebook page. Gray State The Rise. So you can see where that was at now. So once again, this is all the fans to see this now. Whoa, okay, there's an idiot for you. Okay. Officially, the medical examiner and the Apple Valley Police Department have ruled a double murder followed by David shooting himself. Mr. Wright is of the belief that this was a murder followed by a double suicide. What? Planned and agreed to by both parents. Whoops. Oh, I do love this. I can just use my finger to do this. By both parents to kill their daughter and then themselves. This, by definition, is a conspiracy. Two or more people agreeing to commit a crime. Very true. So we've got Sean Wright actively pushing a conspiracy theory, while at the same time publicly stating there is no conspiracy. Interesting. Little, nice. Rules for thee, but not for me. Ooh, why are people doing that all the time? It's annoying. In working closely with investigators, I wonder if they know this man is actively throwing their theory under the bus. Those are some strong words. Como agreed to this. Where is it documented that it went down like this? Where is the evidence to support this theory? And if there was evidence, why would law enforcement state that it was a double murder followed by a suicide? What possibly would cause a parent to shoot or kill their 5-year-old daughter? That's a very fair point, especially, once again, showing how close they were with their daughter. They loved her. Come on, what's going on here? We also saw, yes, that there was a preschool teacher or the kindergarten teacher that was like, Como ran in here and she was scared. And we don't know what's going on with that. Okay. We absolutely have no idea what's going on with that. So if Como agreed to this, okay, where is it documented that it went down like this? Where is the evidence to support this theory? And if there was evidence, we already covered that. Sean isn't the only one with this theory. Mason Hendricks, a friend of Crowley's, went on to say that it was a joint decision to do this way. Oh, all right. And that David did this 100%. How does Hendricks know? Hendricks is believed to use the name Mason Norsk Hess on Facebook. Ho, 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 ho. Let's go and write that down. Oops. Whoops. Whoopsies. What? I have been hitting space. What's going on here? Come on, whoops. Whoopsies. All right. So we got a little bit more here. Okay. On Facebook and Instagram, it say that the family death was tragic but poetic. What? Much to the chagrin of members on the Facebook pages who called the comment irresponsible. That is more than irresponsible. It's just jacked up. So disinfo. Okay, we got some more here. Beginning in April, Mason began a disinformation campaign, which many believe was simply a reason to throw independent investigators off the trail. Well, that's also because the police came off the trail. Private message from Mason to Dan Hennon, which is maybe it's not this guy. Here he stated the ashes of Como Crowley were flown down to Texas. Como Crowley was Muslim and most certainly would not have been cremated. She was not Muslim. She was a convert to Christianity. Okay. But either way. All right, we also got this here. So Mason Norse Cast also said, also all the money that was raised went to Sidra so she could pay for the funeral and fly the ashes down to Texas. Okay. A message from Mason to Dan Hennon, responding to the question of who set up the GoFundMe campaign. Sidra set up the GoFundMe. Well, we know that's BS. Mason Hendricks was a person photographed in the iconic Smiling Guys picture that surfaced during the press interview days after the bodies were found and during the time the close friends were allegedly grieving the loss of a friend. Screenshot from Godlike Productions site. Interesting comment at the bottom. Ooh, what does it say? What does it say? Okay, it was during the latter part of our conversation that he made this statement that is most unsettling and troubling to me. 6 months after the death of Andrew Breitbart and 5 months before that accident, claimed the life of Michael Hastings. He honestly confided that he had no intentions of committing suicide or otherwise becoming a statistic, as he had so much to live for. I'm not prone to suicide, he told. He told Anonymous Coward, apparently. Oh, that was Canada Free Press. Game over. He was very obviously murdered. That was by Anonymous Coward here. Of course he was murdered. Nobody with a clue would believe otherwise. Oh, who stated that? Anonymous Coward. Okay, who is this? Seriously, who is this guy? All right. Well, apparently his closest friends and even family are not pursuing any possibility that he was murdered. No outrage, nothing. They've apparently accepted the mainstream characterization of events. Very disappointing, very cowardly, actually. And that is interesting. Why wouldn't they go and talk about this? Now, the thing is, who is this person talking to? Now, we know this one is talking to this one. Okay, we know that. But they're not, it's anonymous cowards. So on there, it's basically people that don't want to give up their information. Okay, it's fine. Get it, whatever. So this one here is the one I'm paying attention to. Okay, this one also pay attention to. Okay. All right. As with any crime, you need to identify the motive just to come to a conclusion as to why it happened. In this particular case, there isn't one just yet. And yes, there is. Gray State was exposing people. Yes. Okay. If you follow the money, you will more than likely get to the root. In the Crowley case, there is a big one, $30 million. David was pitching this movie, The Gray State, to various producers in Hollywood, May 2014, but he came back empty-handed. Later, it was found that there was a $30 million offer on the table for this film, and apparently there was a verbal offer and production that was to begin on this film. But keep in mind that David Crowley wanted this done his way. He didn't want to lose the integrity of the film with Hollywood producers molding the story into something else. During this time, it appeared David then rejected the offer when it became obvious he would have to give up all the rights to the film, and it was to be directed and produced by someone other than him. The Gray State team would have been undoubtedly upset with this, as most of them poured many, many hours and up to 3 years working on this project. The fact that the one man single-handedly pulled the rug out from a $30 million deal could very well have left a wake of resentment by the team towards him. Yes, it could have. Once again, we know this was through the Michaels Entertainment Group, or it was called, which once again, they were very upset about hearing the audio transcription of basically what he had said to himself. The guy, David Crowley, would literally record everything about himself. Everything. He kept intimate details about himself all the time. So, is this a person that was suicidal? No. This is the same type of thing, like I said, similar to what I'm doing, okay? It's about keeping record so people can see. He was not suicidal. He loved his family. He wanted to expose these jerks that are out there doing all sorts of crappy things, ranging from human trafficking, trying to go and get full control, unite under a single world government. Once again, these are all things you can follow up with things like Agenda 2030, all this. I'm not going to get into it. There's a long list of things. But once again, these are jerks. These are the jerks that literally we need militaries going after these jerks. Just don't even give them the chance to survive it. You know, they're not worthy of, in my opinion, not worthy of staying alive after what they've planned at all. Okay, so got big names involved too. So That's the thing. That's fine. So once again, just throw this out there since I just basically said that, yeah, they don't. They kind of, if our governments actually went after them, they could basically forfeit their lives, and that's how it should be. I'm not suicidal, nor would I ever kill my family. I love my family to death. And when I say that, that does not mean I want them dead. So just throwing that out there. Okay. So just so I've got it covered, 2 videos now. We'll go on a 3rd one, I'm sure. So, yeah, I've been warned about looking at this case, anyways. Prior to even looking into it, just not to look into it. People really don't want people looking into this. The family comes after them. All this, I welcome it. Go for it. I'm looking forward to the ass kicking that could potentially be bringing upon themselves. So do it. I'm not sound like a jerk, but yeah, no, that I'm not kidding. Like seriously, like I can handle myself. I don't have to really worry. Okay, it would take more than just some random Joe Schmo who doesn't know me and doesn't know the layout of my home and things like that. And it would take a lot. Now, I'm not bragging. This is not me bragging about what I'm capable of, but those that know me know I'm not somebody just to kind of just be easily just trifled with. I'm not going to be easily just like swept under the rug like that. Absolutely not. Nor was David either. You know, the guy had his military training and all this. So this is somebody they had to have been somebody who knew. Why? It could be because of the $30 million deal. But once again, it could also be because these jerks behind the scenes, which they're behind a lot of different things. So I'm not going to get into it. But let's see. All right. The members of the Gray State team have repeatedly stated that there was no deal. But some comments below seem to support the evidence that there was something in the works, and a deal was most certainly discussed and was going down a path of working out the final details. So now we're going to look at the preschool here. Once again, yes, I know I'm just basically reading off the screen here. This is fine. Once again, we're trying to go and collect the information. We're going to go and build our case on here, and then we can go and once, if we get anything, we can go and actually send it off to Gamrit, and hopefully something will come about it. If not, once again, we can take this actually to FBI. Because, once again, if we find a suspect is actually tied to something bigger, once again, if any of these guys are out of state, now you can get the FBI involved. That's the great thing about that. So, I'm pretty certain a few of them are. So, bring it on. All right, so 5-year-old Ronnie was enrolled in the Cypress Classical Montessori School in the fall of 2014. Cypress Classical Montessori is an NAEYC accredited Montessori preschool for 2 to 5-year-old children with a Super K gifted and talented program for 4 to 5-year-old children in Burnsville, Minnesota. Bodies were found on January 17, 2015. The question is, was Ronnie enrolled at the school in January 2015? And if so, were attempts made to reach the family when she didn't show up for class for 10 straight days? Following the Christmas New Year's holiday, classes began on Monday, January 5th. Typically, upon enrolling a child, the parent must fill in 2 names and numbers to use as emergency contacts. One of them was more than likely David or Komal. But who was the second? Was that person contacted or notified? Once notified, did they reach out to the Crowley residence to get an update? If an attempt was made but no action taken, I would imagine that person would be carrying around a tremendous amount of guilt to this day. What if the school didn't make an attempt to reach out to one of those or both of the emergency contact names? Would that make the school itself partially negligent in their duties? Yes, it would. The problem is this: we don't know. The school has yet to make a comment, and actually, technically speaking, we go over the police report, all this, you'll see it. They have stated to law enforcement that they don't wish to talk about it, which means, yes, they probably didn't reach out, which is negligence, which they can get hit with. But once again, the teacher did, I believe, claim they did reach out. The only logical conclusion is that the Crowley parents did not enroll Ronnie for the winter months of 2015, and she was never a student there in January, releasing all responsibility of the school. But if she wasn't a student, David and Komal did indeed pull her out, what was the reason given and who was involved in that discussion? That would be excellent information in this case to help determine what was going on in that home around November-December timeframe. Crucial to understand the killings and the time frame or timeline for this event. If Ronnie was not enrolled, the school should have come Ford right away to clear the air about this, but instead decided to use a veil of secrecy, which only leads one to assume she was probably enrolled in the month of January. Okay, so that Facebook group, Justice for David Crowley and Family, had at one time 2 people close to the school as members of that page. One was a teacher and one was a daycare provider in the area that knew about Cypress. Both were quickly harassed and eventually driven away by members that were rude and inconsiderate. One contacted me privately and said they were being harassed and threatened in the middle of the night with phone calls that involved yelling in other languages for about a week straight. The phone number was blocked after that, and the calls stopped. The number of threats in the aftermath of this event is astounding. Now we got the neighbors. This will be interesting. This is going to get a little weird, though. Next door neighbor Colin Prochnow and his wife saw through the window that appeared to be mannequins at the Crowley home around noon on Saturday, January 17th. He told his wife Judy, and she suggested they both go back over and take a look. They did and saw bodies and a black handgun nearby, and then called police. Judy, or someone posing on her, as Facebook began answering questions regarding the case, Justice for David Crowley and Family, but then soon lost credibility when some of her posts didn't add up. The person was exposed on the page as a fraud when this happened. Okay, so this is the one you want to pay attention to. So you can see this is not her. Okay, all right, this is the picture they're showing. Doesn't look like it. And once again, this person's even like, yeah, right. It's good. It's good then that I will be meeting Sidra at her request soon. What? Okay, the above screenshot shows Judy looking forward to meeting Komal's sister, Sidra Alam, at her request. When checking with Sidra Alam to verify this to be authentic, Sidra replied back to be with this. It is not known who was possibly posing as Judy, or if it was truly her, but Sidra states, I've never talked to her, and later mentioned, why would I be interested in meeting the neighbor? Screenshot of the Facebook page of Judy Prochnow. Weird. Dear Iran, okay, so yeah, you can read it yourself. The pictures are not the same. You can also see, if you watch the documentary, similar, but doesn't really look like her. The following conversation took place after Judy Prochnow person was outed. Just a suggestion. She has an agenda, and so do they. When's she say that? When did? Today in our group, but I believe it is someone posting as her. Oh, I've never talked to her. And that was from a screenshot of February 15th, 2015, after it became clear this wasn't the neighbor. This person here lives in Chaska. Okay. 21 miles away. That's not that far. As a group, do not know what happened in that home, but the evidence of the cover-up of some sort is clear to see. Yes, that's exactly what this looks like. Another unexplained death. Here's where it gets weird. August 9th, 2015, Catherine Crowley, 51, was found dead sitting on a patio chair slumped over on the table on the deck of her Owatonna, Minnesota home. Notice Owatonna. That's where that little obituary was released. Take a look again. See? Isn't this weird? This is what makes us really, really weird here. So we can go like this. Actually, oops. Oops. Fine. Owatonna Catherine Kate Ann Crowley, 51 of hang on. She was born in 1964 in St. Paul, Minnesota, the daughter of Jerome and Bernadette Bergeron. Okay. Do we have any Bergerons on that list? No. Kate was a 1982 graduate of Mariner High School in White Bear Lake, Minnesota. So she would have been like 26 upon David's birth, and he was the youngest. I believe he had like another brother. He had another brother at least. Yeah, he had a brother and a sister. So the sister was the youngest, and Daniel was the oldest. Okay. In White Bear Lake, Minnesota, soon after she married Daniel Crowley and had 3 children, Daniel, David, and Allison. In 1989, the family moved to Owatonna, where Kate worked for Cedar Chiropractic, Jostens, and as an aerobics instructor at American Fitness. She went to school in 2002 to be a massage therapist. Nibbled her open to R&R massage therapy business she owned and operated. She was happiest when surrounded by her family, whom she loved deeply. Special gift with animals is evidenced with her love for dog Eddie and her birds. She enjoyed fishing, rock hunting for agates, and singing karaoke. Survived by her son Daniel Crowley and daughter Allison Crowley. Once again, 2 different states, Minneapolis and Chicago. Okay, we're cities, but also different states, as well as 9 brothers and sisters. Jerome Bergeron. Okay, so we can go through this. All different names. And her significant other, Curtis Spatenka of Owatonna. Many nieces, nephews, and extended family. She is preceded in death by her parents, son, and daughter-in-law, David and Como Crowley, granddaughter Renia Crowley, and her brother Joseph Bergeron. Ooh, why is her brother gone too? Visitation will. So they basically show that this is the visitation here for it. Interesting, right? Very, very interesting here. But you can see this is weird. Let's take a look at. Ooh, their link is very small. So this is really weird. Yeah, they do some of these things with these bigger ones here. Sure, okay, fine, whatever. Let's look at the partners. So like I said, when we were looking at the Fort Hood, we kind of looked at all these things. So to kind of figure out what's legit and what's not. Is there anything that's kind of strange here? So it's a legacy.com company. So let's look up legacy.com. See, we're seeing some interesting stuff here. Let's see. About us. We'll just go back to. If we find anybody that's the thing is, sometimes you'll find some people that are connected to the murder of somebody involved in this, which is just like, what? What are you doing? Come on. But it doesn't look like it directly, so we're going to go ahead and continue. So, she was healthy and good spirits and held 2 jobs. No reason was given for her untimely death. Kate was the mother of David Crowley. Her obituary is here. No foul play was suspected, according to the Owatonna Police Department. No press release was issued, and no comment from any member of the family. An autopsy. She said an autopsy was requested, and toxicology results will be available around the end of October. This is an alarming development and highly suspicious. Yes. Yes. Okay. Now let's go ahead and look at Judy on the page. We're going to see if we can find anything. So there's not really anything there now, so that's fine. Alrighty, so let's go up a little bit higher and we'll start taking a look at more of the suspects and stuff. So let's take a look, actually. Let's take a look, see what this okay, fine. So we're looking at this. It's 3 pages of this. Okay, so this, they're breaking it down. This is what's kind of going on here. Where they basically go and cover information about taxes and stuff. They're breaking down how this all works, how it's all connected. The same thing I'm doing with my quote unquote my timeline here, my storyline, if you will, on YouTube. So we got property, okay, which is going to be they're kind of covering all sorts of different things there. Taxes they cover, Federal Reserve, personality, Liberty, the law. Drug war, rise of the warrior cop. NDAA, I think it's drug administration. I think it is. I don't remember what it is exactly. National Defense Authorization Act. Okay. Alex Jones and Ron Paul pop in pretty often. Failure and then end. So it's basically he's going to expose things in a specific type of way. This is going to be more of a documentary. That's all this was. Okay. So but you can see here's the different appearances. So who is this Eric Bakiesser? Okay, so this guy is somebody that worked with like police and stuff. Has always worked in public safety. Has served 12 years in the U.S. Army, including the 1989 Panama invasion. Was in the 1991 Gulf War. I believe in active duty. Moved back to Omaha, Nebraska. Worked as a police officer in EMT. Relocated back to Minnesota. Worked for the state of Minnesota since 2000. Serving as a corrections officer, emergency manager, and public safety director. In addition to training citizens, Eric has taught classes for numerous Minnesota public safety agencies and private sector clients. A bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration. He's a certified business continuity professional and certified Minnesota emergency manager. He's an NRA instructor and affiliate instructor for Defense Training International. What is this? He also holds multiple instructor certifications from the Minnesota Post, the U.S. Army, Minnesota Department of Corrections, and the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Favorite training classes are Force on Force because it's an effective evaluation of a student's ability not just to shoot, but to avoid conflict, make decisions, recall details, and articulate what happened. His favorite carry gun is the Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm. These are things you want to kind of pay attention to. So, you know, he gives up what his favorite gun is. Okay. So let's take a look at this real quick. Interesting. Really want to be able to go and show this, but I don't want to go and risk it. But this does look similar to the one that was used in there. We're going to look up Smith. Ooh. Winchester Brand 40 Smith & Wesson cartridge. They were all cartridges of that. Okay. We had M and P. No, wasn't that what it was called? M and P. 9mm. Okay. So there's no 9mm. Interesting. Okay. But we want to take a look at this. This is important. What is this place? Interesting. Who's this Farnham? He's a handgun instructor. He goes over all sorts of stuff. Interesting. Okay. So he is, what do you say about that? An affiliate instructor. Okay, so he's probably a very, very good instructor. Is basically what this comes down to. Okay. Could he possibly be in there? Well, he showed up 53 times in Gray State The Rise. So let's take a look again. Part 1. Part 2. Why is he appearing in taxes? Pops up personality. Okay, I can see that. A lot of people can pop up in that one. Pops up in the law. That makes sense. Drug war pops up. Makes sense. Warrior cop. That also makes sense. It shows him pop up 18 times, actually. Oh, and here we go. 2-hour, 39-minute documentary that was scheduled to be released for free on YouTube between December 28th and December 31st. Never completed or released. But when you look at this, I don't know where he's getting his numbers from. I don't know, because it shows 18 times he appears in this. But he's saying 53, right? 53 doesn't make any sense. Now let's go ahead and let's look at Alex Jones. There's 5. Okay, so 53 doesn't make any sense. Adam Kokesh. Let's take a look at that. Pops up 9 times. That shows that's true. Let's take a look at another one. So let's go ahead and just go Ron Paul. 7 times. Let's see. 7 times. Okay. So everybody there it's active or is accurate except for Eric Pakiesser. Why is he showing himself 50 or why is he shown 53 times when it only shows him as 18? Weird. Okay. Maybe mistype. Who knows? I don't know. I'm kind of calling BS on this. There's a reason why it's 53, I'm sure. I don't know what, though. Let's see if we can get anything to pop up right here. So, Voices for 9/11 Truth, which is May 12th, 2015. And that was for the Crowley case. Okay, so these were all about the Crowley case. "9/11 phone call." Okay, let's go ahead and we'll get right into this. All right. So we're UM is unknown male dispatcher. Caller is Judy Prochnow. CP is Colin, and then Lorraine Tuppy is LT. So we got a unknown male dispatcher. Police and fire. How may I help you? Yes, this is Judy Prochnow, and I live at 1055 Ramsdale Drive. Yes. I think there's been a murder or suicide next door. What's going on? Well, we've noticed that they haven't, inaudible, of course, that's weird. They haven't been around. So there were Christmas presents on the stoop, so I went over there, and there's a dog in the house, and there's definitely some bodies in the living room. Okay, stay on the line with me just a minute. Do you know what their address is? Well, I'm 1055 and they would be to the west of me. If you were at the house, you can see their address. This is stupid. Okay, I'm just going to go and say stupid because that's pretty freaking accurate here. You're right there. Even if it was by landline, okay, you would know most likely. And if not, your husband can go take a look. Whatever. Okay, so house, so like 1050 or whatever. Okay, so if I'm facing and looking at your house, Judy, would it be the house to the right or left? If you're facing my house, it would be your right, to the right. What are you seeing in there? It just looks like there's a pile of bodies and one like the head is eaten off. Oh no, I suppose by the dog. And my husband thought They were dummies, but the hands look real. Do you see this? This is already seeming really weird. They said something here. And they would have been there since before Christmas. Okay, and so you haven't seen... And all their Christmas lights are still on in the house, and there's my husband. He said he saw the gun on the floor. Yeah. Okay, stay on the line with me. Just a minute, please. It would be a husband, wife, and child. Stay on the line with me, Judy. I'll get some people rolling over there. You saw Christmas presents? Colin, I'm calling 911. You saw presents inside the home too? There's presents on the front step, and they've been there since before Christmas. And there's definite... I just peeked in the front window, and it's gross. It's gross. Colin, what's their address? 1051. 1051 Ramsell Drive. Okay, 1. Don't look in the window, Lorraine. 1051 Ramsell, that's okay, right. And you say, Lorraine, don't look in there. No? No. So it looks like don't look in there. So it looks like there's multiple bodies inside? Yes. And it looks like the dog may have been? Yes. Okay, you saw the gun on the floor? Yes. My husband saw it. He's not here right now. He's talking to the other neighbor. We hadn't seen any movement over there. We just thought they were gone for Christmas. We came back from Florida this week, and they still hadn't. Inaudible. And the presents were still there, so my husband went over there to check. See, how many pages are this? That's 4, okay. Okay. They thought they were gone for Christmas. Haven't seen any movement. So there hasn't been anything movement there since before Christmas. They haven't shoveled. Excuse me, I think I have to throw up. Okay. Okay, ma'am. I won't keep you any longer. Okay, Judy? Okay, thank you. I appreciate the call. I got help coming. Okay. Okay, bye. Thank you. Okay, and here's the next one. It's 911 Police and Fire. How can I help you? Yeah, my name is Colin Prochnow. I live at 1055 Ramsell Drive in Apple Valley. And my next door neighbors, they haven't been home since Christmas or before Christmas. Okay, and there's Christmas presents on the front step, and there's a dog in the house, and nobody answers. Okay. What's the address again? Your phone kind of broke out. Oh, my address is 1055 Ramsell, Ramsdell Drive in Apple Valley. Okay, do you know what their house number is? Yes, it's 1051. Would like somebody to come over and, what is it? Do a welfare or well check or something like that? Okay, you said 1051 for them? 1051. Okay. And I look through the front window, and there's like 3 dummies on the floor. I don't think there are any bodies, but it looks like there's a gun next to one, a handgun. Okay, and what was your name again, sir? First name is Colin, last name is Prochnow. And a phone number for you, Mr. Prochnow. Give cell phone number, home number. All right, in just 1 second. And we were out of town the first week of January, and when we left, the presents were on the front step, and I told my wife, I didn't notice them the other day because I didn't look, but I said I'm going to run over and see if those presents are still there, and they are. And he doesn't answer his cell phone because the neighbor next to him on the other side has his cell phone number. Okay, did you already call? What? Yeah, we tried calling that cell number and nobody answered. No, I mean, did you already call us? Your wife already called us. Judy just called us. Oh, okay, right. All right. Thank you. Bye. Yep, bye. Okay. So that's basically how that went down. It's strange. Okay. If we're being very, very honest, this is very, very strange activity, the way this is getting handled. Judy seemed somewhat suspicious. I mean, once again, their information was kind of off. Now, this is why we have to have a timeline. They don't have a timeline here. Okay. So I'm just breaking it down. I'm going to go and post up a timeline. I'm going to post up what the crime scene photo would look like. Just based on what they're talking about, based on the crime scene photos, yada, yada, yada. We're going to get something very, very comprehensive on this. So once again, you won't see that until next Saturday, but you'll see it. Basically, it's coming down to. So you guys will see something. I will have something put together. I'm going to put aside this week to actually just put that together and push aside my next video, which comes out which should have actually been out before the election and everything too, because I wanted to have the hunt video out just at election time. That's what I was aiming, but once again, got sidetracked. A lot of the things happened, so didn't happen. Very close to being finished on that. So, but I'm going to go and set aside this week to actually just get that done. So you guys will see there's going to be a lot of things coming out about this case. Once again, we're looking at timelines from what the neighbors stated. This is why we can't fully go off of witness testimony, and you'll see why. Because things get kind of wonky when it comes to that. But especially with timelines, they always get jacked up. Those and descriptions, jacked up every time. But we will be able to see like the distance, like how long they had to travel, when they would have been able to see inside the home, things like that. And once again, windows are open. Not a single neighbor saw a problem with that. Yet they saw a problem with, they always have their windows closed. Okay, so they took note on that, but then this window's open for 3 weeks. Really? You don't see anything strange about that? Okay. They can always use the claim, I wasn't paying attention, or people came by and it wasn't a big deal. Yeah, there's something off. So let's go ahead and we'll take a look again. 1051 Ramsdell Drive. This time we're going to go and use Google. Specific reason. Okay. Get a little closer here. Go with our satellite view. Okay. Now, we see that this is like a giant area where it would just been like homes. It would just been back to back. Okay. This is 2020, so new families obviously moved in here, people moved in here, but yes, basically we see, doesn't look like an alley. It looks like it's just like fences. So if somebody were able to, for instance, need to get into the backyard, they could have hopped fences, or they could have just came up. Coming in the dead of night, you're going to see a lot of people are going to not be awake. So getting into the house would be not hard at all. Eventually, you can see right here, this is just like that when we took a look at the street view. So take a look. You'll see it's going to be 2012. So you can see, yes, they would have had a way back there. There's no fence there. Okay, so that's the part to pay close attention to. All right, so we see that, yes, my opinion, what I think, or kind of my theory, what I'm running with right now, I think the brother was involved. I think it was a money thing. I think the brother had the most experience, most likely when it came to, probably had a fight. He probably had more military training than the rest of the guys. And could have easily probably dispatched David. He looked like he was around the same size and everything, but I think he was a little bit bigger. Would have been able to get in the house even if it wasn't like in the cover of night or anything, which he probably was. He probably broke into the house, his little ninja outfit, and probably got into a fight with him. Ended up killing the wife and daughter, and then I think David came out, and that's when he basically put his butt down, I think is what happened. Now, I can't just go out on a limb and say, is his brother, is the brother. No, the other guys are very suspicious. They know something at least. Okay? So, what do we got for the downloads in here? Okay. Take a look at this one. Private investigators' findings. Kenneth Maines. All right. I have finished my review of the deaths of David Como and Renia Crowley, in which you have retained me to do. It is my hope that the assessment review... there's about 27 pages, okay. Prides himself on the work, and that's May 30th, 2019. Okay, this is last year. Almost 2 years ago. Paid in full, $7,000. Ooh. Crazy. understand why, though. So his credentials, this guy knows what he's doing. Looks like he's got a lot of experience here. His credentials. Okay. Professional opinion as to the case manner of death and any additional factors that may have led to the deaths. Looking at the case with an unbiased view, as I do with all my cases, I do not know David Crowley, Cornwall Crowley, or their respective child. I know of no one associated with the Crowley family that I am aware of. I have never heard of Gray State, or have I read or seen anything in the media regarding this case. My first association with this case came via the police reports and crime scene pictures I received after being retained by the client. My review is done in a chronological and systematic direction in order not to become biased. I wanted to just review the police reports and crime scene photographs first. After I reviewed these items numerous times over a several week period, I then asked the client to send ancillary documents about the case. I received many such documents. Several months after I restarted my review and after my initial review of the police reports and crime scene photo or video, I did watch a documentary film about the case. I did this in order to see David and Como interact as they were in life and to observe anything additional that would help my review of the case. Exactly what I've been doing as well. Okay. So, basically they're going through this whole thing, and Mr. Mains went over and basically he put this in order. So he's going to go over the background, reports and research, crime scene revisit, interviews, evidence, victimology, suspectology, criminal profiling, crime scene assessment, timelines, and deduction. So by part 10, we hear what he thinks. This case, local death involves a husband, wife, and their daughter. All three were found by a neighbor inside their... okay, so basically just kind of going over that. Of course, this is confidential, apparently. Police reports and photographs of the scene that I received were very detailed and thorough. The collection and documentation of evidence was extremely meticulous and documented very well, in my opinion. Although there was only one picture of the bodies at the crime scene, it was sufficient to give me an insight as to the crime. The peripheral photographs of the home and evidence were extremely helpful, and the CSI team did a fantastic job in this painting. No, they did terrible. I'm sorry. They did terrible job. Although the police department did an excellent job investigating, no, they didn't. I would have liked to have a little more background information on the relationship between Como and David, especially when it comes to the religious beliefs. There was mention this in one of the reports, which means they certainly looked into that aspect of it. I just would have dug a bit deeper, because I believe it had or has huge implications in their life and ultimate deaths. Following this information, I was supplied regarding religion in the Crowley family. David grew up Lutheran, but wasn't very active as an adult life. Como grew up Muslim. Some say she converted to Christianity in order to marry David, but that may not be entirely true. As they were married, she attended a Muslim worship service once while visiting her parents in Dallas, Texas. But that is only what a family friend had stated. Even if she visited or basically attended a worship service, doesn't mean that doesn't mean crap. Sorry, buddy. That's not necessarily 100% accurate, but I see what you're saying here to some degree. Didn't get any interviews. Police department did an outstanding job. Document appeared to me that the proper collection of evidence and the documentation of such evidence was done correctly and by proper standards. No, it wasn't. There was things they probably could have used as evidence that was in the pictures, and I don't think they did. Let's see. David served in the armed forces, and was an Army vet. At the time of his death, he was 29. He was considered the leader of an anti-government type of movement that was gaining traction in the way of notoriety. No. It appears that during his second deployment overseas, he became bitter towards the Army and the government. He felt what America was doing in the Middle East was wrong. It is wrong. And he was very vocal and passionate about this. Okay, that makes sense because of his movie and all this. Everything else. When he was discharged by the Army, he began to work on his movement he called Gray State. It wasn't a movement, it's a film. Yeah. This film, from my understanding, was about not letting the government take over our fundamental rights as citizens. Yeah, he's something up with this dude. Like, he's not really didn't get invested. Kind of have to when you're looking at this. As you're using it as a movement, it's actually a film. Went to film school and harnessed his energy and passion about this movement into a script and potential feature film. After a few years of trying to obtain funding, before it appeared it somewhat faded out, but this means there were some investors, friends, and associates of David in this project that bowed out or were forced out by David. By December 2014, David was obviously feeling the pressure of his attempt to make the movie Gray State, and it was equally obvious through his emails and interviews with people who worked on this project with him. He was passionate about the project. Also appeared to him that he was frustrated that people didn't have the same intense passion or energy he did for the project. Well, that makes sense. That's why I don't like to work on teams. David became increasingly withdrawn, it seems. He shied away from social contacts and did not associate with people outside his immediate circle of friends or wife, Camille, and child. This withdrawal was evident to everyone around him, and it became amplified closer to the incident. Okay, well, I don't think it really matters too much to this, let's be honest. He was controlling of his wife, according to some. He did not allow her to communicate much with her own family, according to interviews. However, this occurred closer to the incident and not so in the beginning of the relationship. This is evident when Comel's sister drove from Texas to Minnesota to see Comel because she had stopped corresponding with her. She arrived at the residence. David answered the door, refused to let her talk to Comel, and turned her away. Yet, when the sister picked up a car from Comel had left a picture on the seat saying she loved her. This leads me to believe she was following what David wanted and not what she wanted. Also, it was apparent he was pushing himself away from society and taking his family with him. That's understandable to some degree. Not to that degree, but still, I get it. There were 3 occasions that he would not allow friends and family inside his home. Once was Comel's sister, his friends Mitchell Heil and Daniel Mason were both met in the driveway where they talked. This is another indication to me that something wasn't right inside the Crowley home, or possibly David's paranoia. He didn't trust those two, and he had an issue with Muslim religion, or the Islamic religion as a whole. Once again, we went with that. That's over the documentary. You can see that he directly was against it. So what else we got here? Okay. It's also along with his personality, which is strong alpha male type. Absolutely. Did not seem... I'm going to give a little background on this real quick. He seemed very playful at the same time. Like, he was very serious, very straight to the point, but he was very, very passionate. And when talking about his stuff, which once again, I think him and I would have gotten along quite well, actually. But he was very, very playful when talking about it. So he was a leader and people followed him. Yes, obviously. He was not eccentric, but he was a driven creative artist with a strong business sense and opinions. Yes. Seemed to be of high intellect, along with that of high level of intelligence, sometimes comes with a never-ending search for answers that may never come. Yeah. This is coming from somebody that's probably lower intellect than I don't think he was of a higher intellect. I mean, I'm not stupid by any means. I would argue that I've got high intellect. Once again, I've got a bit of an ego as well, so they're in like kind of as a problem. But I don't think this guy. I mean, this isn't necessarily true. If you're high intellect, high level of intelligence, you're probably you're well. I'm not going to say probably, because from my own experience here, and I'm not like trying to brag or anything, but still, that's not necessarily the case. You're going to have this like never-ending search of answers to some degree, but once again, what he's looking at, that's not going to be a never-ending search. These things, there is a beginning and an end. This isn't quantum physics. This isn't anything like this, where there's things where it's just a theory. We don't know. We can't really test all of it because we don't have the capabilities currently. But still, this is something that is not going to be a never-ending search. This is a search that has a beginning and an end. We can quantify these things. We can look at these things and see them. So that's incorrect about this. December 2014 approached. David had lost weight, looked disheveled and crazy, according to witness statements. Strong contrast to his prior appearance. His appearance alarmed friends and family. This is a strong indicator that something was not right with him. Here, David was used marijuana and hints of alcohol and mushrooms, according to his journal. The marijuana was evident at the crime scene. This by no means diminishes his character, but we have to wonder what this is a normal thing for him, or why this is a normal thing for him and his wife. It's marijuana. Just get over it. I'm not a user by any means. I am drug and alcohol free completely by choice. I choose to be. I don't see the point of it. I don't like to go on. I'm trying to think of the best way to describe it. I don't like to be impaired at all. So for me, that's my, like, I guess you could take that as my level of paranoia, my level of concern for my safety at all times. Yes. But I'm protected for other people. I have a bit of a hero complex, so that also falls in line with that, I suppose. But let's see. It appears he did not have a job and relied on Connell to support him so he could concentrate on Gray State. Financial burden upon the families. They had cell phone bills, utilities, mortgage pay. Let's see. Okay, so when it comes to her, and we're going to quickly go over this, was of Muslim faith, okay? And it was reported she gave up this faith and converted to Christianity for David. Como was born in Saudi Arabia and lived in Pakistan until age 17. Met David in Texas while he was stationed there. They married only after 6 weeks of courtship. They had one child named Rania. She was a dietitian and was loyal to David. She knew how to fire a gun and was evident as she was shown shooting at a target on a home movie I watched. During David's relentless pursuit of making the Gray State movie, she was by his side every step of the way. Keep note of that. That also was shown in the documentary. Some say she even took on David's personality and traits, not wanting to be social, anti-government stands, etc. They weren't either. They were not anti-government. They were libertarian. Okay. That does not mean anti-government. That means less government is what they want. It means government's got a certain specific purpose, and they do not, and the government does not need to step out of line. I also identify as libertarian. I feel the exact same way. Government's got a place. It should only be set aside for certain things, and upholding the Constitution is strictly it. That is what these guys are talking about. That's all they've talked about. Even though most describe her as a free thinker, she was obviously dedicated to David, and they were a team. Cuomo's conversation about the rapture and David's excited interest in it only weeks from the incident reinforces this belief to me. Where is the proof of this? I'd love to see this. Email exchanges only a couple months before the death certainly take a harsh tone with David's family members. Como seems to be very angry at his cutting people out of her life, as David was doing. Okay. There are some conflicting accounts about how she was a mother, or she was as a mother. One person claimed she didn't seem to enjoy it much. It made her mind up with David that they would not have another child. No. Some thought this odd as they were still young. From the home movies I watched, it seemed to me that she was an attentive and loving mother. However, no one knows how she was as a mother when the camera was turned off. There was times where David clearly had the camera on her and his daughter without them knowing. So they were acting the same way. Therefore, I'm calling bullshit. Rania was 5 years old at the time of her death, attending school, blah, 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 fast learner, normal student. Nothing indicated that she's abused or mistreated at all. Boom, already shows that then. One particular video clip I watched did show Rania talking about blood and monsters, and it was a bit disturbing coming from a 5-year-old child. My child talks about that too. Kids talk about that. Jesus. Yeah. They do sometimes. Once again, it depends on kind of like what's on TV. And if you look at what's even on simple as Netflix, for crying out loud, they talk about death in it. Yeah. This guy's an idiot. I already don't like this guy right now so much. However, children are a product of their environments, and this is apparently what she had heard or saw being talked about in her home. Even though I am sure it was a literal and not figurative regurgitation of information, it was somewhat disturbing to view. Yet this does not mean she wasn't a well-taken care of young child, which it appears she was. All right, so now we're going to look at this. Here's the timeline he made here. December 17th, David reached out to producer Jason Allen, asking if he'd like to be the executive producer and help out with the logistics of the film. December 19th,
This is the weird thing here. See? Time frame. He's got a time frame. I like this guy right now for this only. David texts Christopher Peck. Do you have any? David and Como arrive in Minneapolis to buy marijuana from Chris Peck. Boom, we have a name there. There we go. Chris Peck. Christopher Peck, all right. David and Como arrive at Renia's preschool to pick her up. 21st, Como sends a message to Heidi Lish. Crowley charges $31.32 at the Apple Valley Smashburger location. Smashburgers are good. Ugh, enough about food. That just sounds so good right now. Sidra missed a phone call from Como Crowley, not verified. Alam missed once again missed another phone call from Crowley. Okay. December 26th, issue of The Sun was delivered to the Crowley home according to the paperboy. It's found in the kitchen trash. Take note of that. Also, when we get a look, I'll have some of the photos. I'll have them download and everything put up with it when we're going over the video. You'll see it when I do go over the full crime scene. Unless I put it up on all the other websites, you'll see it. It's something. It's something. It clearly looked like there was some liquid on it and all this. So I'm gonna go on a limb and say somebody had either delivered it in the home or something. Let's see. December 24th. Brett Millay sees David in the window across the street at Crowley home. 25th, posted on the Facebook page. And it's not an easy feat when trying to maintain the story's integrity without selling out and having such a small team. Oh, look. Now it's making it look like... Introdustings. Okay. See David in the window across the street at the Crowley home. 12:40 a.m. on Thursday, December 25th. Okay. See that Friday, 26th September. Where are they skipping now? According to police reports, Dan Crowley Jr. drops off Christmas packages at Crowley home on the front step. Does not knock or ring doorbell and leaves. That's odd. All right. January 10th, once again, another big skip. Why is there a skip between Friday and Sunday? Or Friday to Sunday? That's kind of weird. Okay. Then we skip from Sunday to January 10th. Then we go to, so that's Christmas presents observed by residents. 17th, this is where it starts going. And now we get the crime scene assessment. Let's see. David and child were barefoot. This means he was comfortable and had no indication of going or being outside. It was Allah Akbar, or God is greater or greatest, in Arabic, written in blood on the wall. This is done to either stage the scene to look like something it isn't, because it is the motive for the event, or it is for shock value. I argue shock value. No organization. David has had numerous military and electronic gadgets. There was very little organization to these items, yet the tools in his garage seem to be neatly organized, unlike other items. This could mean that he did not use the tools as much as he did the electronic gadgets or military items, therefore. True, that is very true. They were organized when he moved into the house and then not touched often since that time. It also tells me that this event was not planned, as the house was in normal conditions. Okay. I get it. Normal. Yeah, okay. See what you're saying there. Love. The word love seems to be a constant theme in this family. Notes, stickers, etc. shown throughout with the word love. Okay. This was an impulse, not planned murder. Very true. I already came to that conclusion. Choice of weapons is one of convenience. No signs of blood in master bedroom. Como's positioning indicates that she was possibly shot without knowing she was in danger and or on her knees and fell forward. David was either standing when shot on... see, look at this. It was either standing when shot or on his knees. All three were in comfortable clothing, sweatpants. 2 bracelets on the left wrist of David likely means he is right-handed. Oh, this guy, I'm actually loving his little crime scene assessment. It's great. It's very hard to properly and accurately construct the last movements of the victims because of the dog's involvement and activity around the bodies. From the home videos I've seen, the dog was quite active. Although not a large dog, it was strong enough to tug on any of the bodies and move its positioning. This is evident in the tearing of Kamel's sweatpants. The dog was obviously eating the bodies for survival. Therefore, I am not confident in reconstructing the shooting sequence. Oh, don't worry, buddy. I am. David's gunshot wound had an exit through the left parietal bone. This would indicate he was shot on the right side of his head. Okay, keep that in mind. Right side of his head. He's right-handed. Could he have shot himself? It's a possibility. That's what this shows here. Once again, I think this is highly staged. Komel had 2 head wounds, and entrances are located at the left posterior parietal bone with an unknown exit point. Obviously, this means she was shot in the left side of her head. Renia had 1 gunshot wound entrance to the right parietal bone. However, what is most complexing to me is the fractured rib she suffered. Very good question. All 6 bullets and casings were recovered. The lab determined they were all fired from a .40 caliber Springfield XD handgun that was lying next to David Crowley. A mixture of 2 or more individuals. This is common. The major contributor to this DNA matched David Crowley. The magazine of the gun also had a mixture of 2 or more individuals. The major male component matches David Crowley. The blood on the wall is Kamel Crowley's blood. Kamel's blood is also found on the floor in the context of a bloody bare footprint. Kamel's DNA was found on items 42, 43, and 44, which are bullets. The push keys on the safe where the gun was most likely taken from was a mixture. The major contributor is Kamel. What? Okay. Bullet DNA on item 53 matches Renia. 57 matches David. A key of the laptop had blood. Weird. I don't know. Get out of here. Notepad had Kamel's blood and the words "Submit to Allah" now written. Yeah, you look at like I said, I'll have that. You guys will be able to see it. It's handwriting doesn't match, and this is where we get into forensic handwriting. Fantastic. We'll get into that. Don't worry, I promise. DNA, specifically touch DNA, is a tricky area. With Kamel's DNA appearing on the touchpad of the gun safe, we cannot conclude either way if she was the one to retrieve the weapon in question. She could have touched the pad at an earlier point in time. It could also be transfer DNA from David having contact with Kamel and then himself touching the keypad, or it could simply mean Kamel touched the touchpad for herself for whatever reason. 6 cartridges were found in the living room. 1 cartridge was found. This means the offender was most likely racked the weapon before firing. All right. So we found all these. Boom, 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 boom. And you start seeing this. Manner of death. Okay. Breaks this down. Medical examiner concluded all 3 victims had gunshot wounds, which effectively eliminates death by natural occurrence. Okay. Accidental. Medical examiner concluded all victims had gunshot wounds to the head, which effectively eliminates death by accident. True. Murder-suicide. There are numerous reasons this could be deemed a murder-suicide. Following reasons, I believe the manner of death could be ruled murder-suicide. No forced entry. Once again, back door is open. Sorry, bro. No human footprints in snow. Once again, 3 weeks before the event actually took place, so that rules that out. David's gun was used, and all six spent cartridges came from the same gun. Once again, that can also be ruled he had it out because once again, he has his gun out. He's a concealed carry. Doesn't mean he's not. Just because he's in his own home doesn't mean he's going to not have his weapon on him. Okay, it's not going to be right there. Once again, if he feels threatened at all, he could have went to go get it. Kamel could have went to go get it while he was fighting. Lots of different reasons. Bloody barefooted footprints were left on the floor in the home. That could still, once again, there's a lot going into it. David was found deceased barefooted. Note, a computer was indicative of a suicide note. In addition, blood was found on the letter key A, which coincides with the note. Where's the note, bro? Where's the note? Gate was closed on the fence outside. The position of the bodies did not being on furniture or bed, as if it was a planned event. The dog was still alive and not confined. Once again, easily, why was the dog could have been confined still? If an intruder was present, the dog most likely would have been shot or confined to a room, in that opinion. Once again, just because this happens, the dog, once again, if it's somebody the dog knows is uncomfortable with, dog could be totally fine getting confined in the room. Well, not necessarily totally confined, but could have been confined in a room and then let out after. easily. So I can already shoot a lot of these down already. No pun intended. Murder. There are several reasons to make me believe this could have been a murder carried out by someone outside the home. Boom. Your patio door was open slightly when. Thank you for mentioning that. Gun laying near David's left side, even though he was reported to be right-handed. All the victims being found in one room as if they were gathered and herded into the room. Boom, another one. Suspectology. This is going to get fun. When determining suspects, we must account for individuals in the Crowley's past and present that had means, motive, and opportunity to perpetrate a crime against him. We are going to go over a little over 12:30, but we're going to finish up this majority of it at least. Although almost anyone can be a suspect, blah, 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 money. In the information he was provided, there were some business partners that stood out as potential suspects. However, without further investigation, cannot rule anyone in or out. Yet, I will say there was a possible motive for a vested third party to capitalize on the Grey State movement. And it's a movie, jerk. A potential movie deal that may or may not have come to fruition. Okay. I don't think, well, I mean, it could have been, but okay. Sex. I do not see this being a factor in these deaths. There is just no evidence from any source that brought this into play as possible scenario. The autopsy or crime scene show no indication of this. Revenge, anger. It's possible someone who did not share David's anti-government beliefs could have motive to murder him and his family. Someone who became angry over David's comments is probable. Yet, enough to drive them to murder and his family, in my opinion, this is not probable. David and Kamel must also be looked at under the potential motive. Revenge, anger is often spontaneous event triggered by something that makes the individual react in the heat of the moment. David and Kamel could have some type of argument or disagreement which led to this event. This is basically pushing back to domestic violence. This goes also to the potential that maybe she was thinking about divorcing him. Okay, so is the divorce more likely than anything else? Yeah, I think a divorce option would have been the most likely, but do I think it was going to happen? No, I don't, because they were so in love and all this. I don't think. And once again, they had apparently a discussion about how she was going to, she talked to her father or whatever, and she was talked down about it. Who knows? But out of all things, when it comes to domestic type of violence, that would have been the one key thing I think that could have potentially pushed him. I don't think he would have done that. Time of death happened in the evening hours. I deduced this from the Christmas lights and the dining room lights being on upon arrival of police. Some people leave those on all day long. Ugh. My parents do, for crying out loud. To further this deduction, we can look at the clothing the family was wearing. Most people will wear, well, I want to say most of the time they do at least. Most people will wear sweatpants in the evening, especially in the winter. Very true. Alan Olson heard 3 rapid gunshots on a date before New Year's Eve. He believes it was in the evening, but he cannot pinpoint the date. Okay. This person was not mentioned anywhere else. Okay. But knows he heard the shots. But he was the most credible witness of hearing gunshots. There were most likely the 3 shots that killed Kamel. But when did the other 3 shots take place? I cannot be confident in reconstructing the sequence of shots that took place because of the lack of and conflicting witness accounts of when they heard possible gunshots. Boom. Very true. This comes out of witness testimony. Happened the evening of December 24th or the evening of December 25th, and most likely December 25th because of David's Christian beliefs and the last Facebook post, if this was posted by David. My opinion is someone would not plan and execute the act of murder of his family and then come to the home and use David Crowley's own weapon to carry out these murders. What? Especially since it was more probable than not the weapon was located in a locked safe in the bedroom. For someone to come into his home without any signs of struggle, find the keys to open the safe, and then use that weapon is not likely at all. This doesn't make sense. Possible, yes, but certainly not probable nor likely. Okay, so they're basically trying to say, yeah, no, this is... Okay. This happens on home invasions. People doing this. So, okay. Curious, what is a song? Ascent.
Okay. So it's a very Christian song. Okay. Hillsong United. And we're just like this. Boom. Oh, how high would I climb mountains? Okay, say blah 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 blah. I'm not seeing anything. I'm not seeing anything about death here. Once again, this could have easily been. This could have easily been played as kind of, like I said, part of the cover thing. Trying to place it that way. Blah, 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 blah. The murder was someone inside the house. Since Camille's blood was found on the wall and her blood made the barefoot print, we can rule her out. Though David was a loner of sorts, especially as time passed. He kept his wife away from other family. Blah blah blah. Seemed controlling the wife. Okay. We're probable that David was the offender or Carmel was the offender. Okay. More probable than not that David was the offender or Como was the offender. Obviously, we know it's not the daughter. We can certainly rule out the child, and with everything done after the murder in Como's blood, it believes David Crowley is the person more likely than not responsible for these homicides. Obvious clue, this played on a continuous loop during the murder-suicide. I think this is a direct relation to David's Christian belief. Wow, okay, thanks for attacking that, buddy. I don't think that's what it is. This was most likely created after the murder of Ramia and Como, and after the words were smeared on the wall due to Como's blood being found on the keyboard. The Quran being located and opened to the page that is referred to as forgiveness prayer, which people of Muslim faith say over their dead. I think this is done out of love and respect he had for Como and religious beliefs. Yet there were pages ripped out of the Quran and torn into tiny pieces. Again, this would indicate to me that something regarding the Islam faith may have triggered this event. The blood on the side of the Quran indicates he flipped through the pages after writing the phrase on the wall. The sense of blood in master bedroom. We can deduce that the offender never went back into that room as they did the office and kitchen areas. This means the weapon was taken from the safe first. If this act is perpetuated by an intruder or someone other than David or Como, they would have left a better suicide note. That's not true. By that, I mean, write a vague note on the computer. They would have wrote a note that strictly pointed toward David being the murderer. As example, would be, I killed my wife and child because I could not stand them to be in this world anymore. I could not take the pressure anymore. I love you all. Signed, David Crowley. No. See, and like, okay, you can see this perfect. You can see that the handwriting is not quite the same on all of it. It's not consistent. We'll get over that in a bit. I'm also not a handwriting expert, but in my opinion, whoever wrote the phrases on the notepad, presumably the killer who is right-handed because the blood smears, also wrote the words on the yellow sticky. It's my opinion. This is David Crowley. To me, the writings appear to be the same, especially the use of quotation marks and the letters M and T. Okay. Good buddy. So, inconsistencies, abnormalities. We're going to go over this real quickly, and then we're going to go, holy crap. Yeah. Okay, we're not going to be able to get over all this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go and cover this. I will reference this. I will give you guys like the different links and things like this, so you guys can definitely go and take a look. But basically, what's going to happen is we are going to go and I'm going to go and start putting things together. I have to go and finish up the redoing parts of like the narration, all this for my COVID-19 video. Get that, basically fixed and then re-uploaded and all this. And then I'm going to get immediately right on to getting the crime scene put together so you guys can all see it. And once again, it'll be glorious. So when I say glorious, I mean, you guys will see this is odd as hell. So, but thank you guys for tuning in. And like I said, we will be back next Saturday, and it'll be around 10 p.m., potentially a little earlier. Once again, don't get the hopes up, but once again, I will notify you guys through social media, Twitter, Parler, Facebook, and all that. So if you guys are on Discord, great time to join. Once again, link you guys can see on the overlay. Just type that in. It'll give you guys the access right there. This is an unlimited limited use one. So go ahead, use it. Hop in, join the conversation, get through the registration, which just takes a second. You can put down wherever you guys want for where you guys are located. It doesn't make a difference. It's just to avoid bots and trolls. Once again, even trolls hearing this, chances are will not even go past it. No, I'm not going to set anybody up past that. So go ahead, set yourselves up, and then join in the conversations. There's a giant archive of all sorts of different things, including taking a look at previous case files that we worked on. All right. So thank you guys for tuning in. And once again, we will see you guys next Saturday. And you guys have a wonderful rest.